Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for joining us. Today's class or today's session will focus on the Bitcoin. In our previous session, we discussed about the cryptocurrency. The expected areas to be covered in this session today, we are to look at the history of Bitcoin and how is, here is who is Satoshi Nakamoto, and the issue of peer-to-peer technology, Bitcoin mining, and how miners are working towards the Bitcoin. So when we try to start discussing, or when we are discussing on Bitcoin, we need at least to have a fundamentals in the sense of history of Bitcoin initially, how Bitcoin come to an existence. So we need to identify all those things before we even start thinking about it is a Sharia compliance or not. It is halal to invest in it or not. But without understanding the background and the fundamental of Bitcoin, it will be difficult to somebody or listener or somebody that is want to know something about the Bitcoin to have a verdict or to pass the verdict on what exactly Bitcoin is. So let's start with the history of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency which we do say is a digital asset designed to work as a medium of exchange. Initially, they designed this to work as a medium of exchange. That is, you give it and something will be given back. That is, you have to compensate with another thing as money. That's why that's why the name of it is being digital currency. So, designed as a medium of exchange that uses cryptography. When we say cryptography, we are talking about the encryptions. Encryptions, that is to have a secure data that is being covered with the secure data. So to control its creation and management. So the cryptography is being used to control the security part of the cryptocurrency, that is Bitcoin. So, but the only issue here is rather than relying on the central authority. So because of that, like I've told you in our previous session, we said people start disagreeing or disappreciating the effort being rendered by the central authority, like a central bank and other authorities that regulate the financial institutions. They are not doing the best. They are not doing the good thing. So because of that, people start reacting negatively. We talked about in our previous session about the too big to fail, the company or the financial institution that named itself as a too big to fail. So in 2007 or 2004 financial crisis, it's happened that that financial institution defaulted, went to bankruptcy. So now people start disagreeing with the magnificent of being a big corporation, big company, big financial institution. People start distrusting those financial institutions by saying, yes, they are full of information asymmetry. They are full of moral hazard. They hide the information that people are supposed to know. So because of that, they must develop another system that has a trust in it. That is the idea about the cryptocurrency. That is the idea about the Bitcoin. So now we are not happy with the financial institution because they are not doing well. So because of that, let us start think next level. Let us start think step ahead. So the history of Bitcoin started with the invention and was implemented by presumed pseudonymous Satoshi Nakamoto, who integrated many existing ideas from the cyberpunk community over the course of Bitcoin history, and it has undergone rapid growth. It has undergone rapid growth. Sorry that those who are joining should mute their mic. Yes, okay. Okay, over the course of Bitcoin history, it has undergone rapid growth to become a significant currency both on and offline. from the mid-2010, some business began accepting Bitcoin in addition to traditional currencies. So initially, when this thing started, the person that invented this or started giving out some ideas about this is Satoshi Nakamoto, who is the first person that invented Bitcoin. And that was started during 2008, 2009. So the domain of that Bitcoin site comes up 2009. But initially, the idea and also the activities of Bitcoin started since 2008. So from the mid-2010, some business began accepting Bitcoin. So when they advertise and also sell the idea to some people think that, yes, this is the way out. Since you are depositing your money into financial institution, but you have no idea what the financial institution is doing, and also the financial institution is hiding information. So the base part of it is to develop a system that can give us a trust, a system that would be trustworthy, a system that we may have what peace of mind in it. So on 18 August 2008, the domain name bitcoin.org was registered. Later that year, on 31st October, a link to appear authored by Satoshi Nakamoto titled Bitcoin. So what happened exactly in 2008, they purchased the domain. When we say domain, is the website that is being given to you, is a name being given to you to host your website. So that domain was bought from the domain listing bitcoin.org. So they understand that the domain was licensed in 18 August 2008. Later on, in 31st October, a link appeared authored by Satoshi Nakamoto titled Bitcoin. So later on, he published his paper. He just gave out the paper, peer-to-peer electronic cash system in that site, which electronic cash system was posted to a cryptography. So mailing list. Now the process of how this system started, this how Satoshi Nakamoto started his invention. So after inventing it hiddenly, now he published it and also used cryptography. Like I've said, cryptography is a system that encrypts the system, encrypt the digital currency, which hides the information but gives output of what exactly is being transferred. So this paper that he published, the name Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. The paper detailized methods of using a peer-to-peer. When we say peer-to-peer, it means I will send you something and you will receive it directly without mediator. How? In a contemporary society, you see that when you transfer your money, it's not going to that person's account directly. No, it has to go to central bank of that particular country. Let the central bank verify the money before they deliver the money to whom? To the second party or the party being asked to send to. But in this system, why the Satoshi Nakamoto want to say it here in his paper, he says, instead of having intermediary, having someone to verify your own transaction, you are only to send your money directly from party A so that the party B will receive the money without the concept of third party. That's what they refer to peer-to-peer. Please, I wanted us to use this words, that is the terms we are using. I'm trying to explain the terms, the individual terms, in order to have it in our mind. Peer-to-peer, let us understand the concept of it. So next time when I say peer-to-peer or cryptography or this or that, we already know the fundamental definition of that terms. So the peer-to-peer network, to generate what was described as a system for electronic transaction without relying on trust. Yes, so they are trying to say, yes, let us have a discussion, let us invent a way that we deliver and receive money without third-party trusting. That is without financial institution, without mediating the financial institution into our transaction so that they cannot delay us or they cannot maltreat us or hide their information towards us. So on 3rd January 2009, the Bitcoin network came to an existence with a Satoshi Nakamoto mining the genesis block of Bitcoin. So if you may recall vividly in our previous session, we showed how the Bitcoin works, how the cryptocurrency works based on blockchain. So we are also going to see again that aspect, how the Bitcoin works and how they put the Bitcoin block together and arrange the system of Bitcoin block, which had a renew of 50 Bitcoin. So the miners, Bitcoin has something. First of all, it has to have a first guy that is need to transfer his money. Let me explain it. The first guy that want to transfer his money to second party. So the first party is there, and the second person or the second system is to have a blockchain work. And the third person involved in this transaction, as we are going to explain it in our future thing, we have miners. And the fifth thing we are to have that is the nodes that is being used to blockchain it, to put it in a block system. So I will explain that when we go forward. But now we are trying to understand when things start working and how that works. Okay. The value of the first Bitcoin transaction were negotiated by individual on the Bitcoin forum, which won notable transaction of 10,000 Bitcoin cash. So first Bitcoin version is called Bitcoin Cash. So later on, when there are some massive fraud happen, and now they wanted to transform the system, they use Bitcoin Gold, which is Bitcoin, the current Bitcoin they are using. But initial Bitcoin being developed is called Bitcoin Cash, that is BTC, used to indirectly purchase 2 pizzas delivered by Papa John's. So the first person that bought these pizzas, he used 10,000 Bitcoin Cash to pay the pizzas delivery by Papa John's. So from there, people start having idea of accepting this Bitcoin in terms of transaction. So on August 6, 2010, a major vulnerability in the Bitcoin protocol was spotted. So in 2010, the issue came up in terms of how Bitcoin is being sidelined and also being bypassed by some fraudsters. So a major vulnerability in the Bitcoin protocol was spotted. Transactions were not properly verified before they were included in the transaction. Lock of blockchain, which lead to user bypass Bitcoin economy restrictions and create an create indefinite number of Bitcoin. On 15 August, the vulnerability was exploited. Over 184 billion Bitcoin were generated in a transaction and sent to 2 addresses on the network. Within an hour, the transaction was spotted and erased from the transaction logged after bug was fixed and the network forked to an updated version of the Bitcoin protocol. This was only the major security flaws found and exploited in Bitcoin's history. So initially, such things happen when there is an issue when the Bitcoin started, and people start understanding that the Bitcoin is having some significant attraction, but people are having Bitcoin. People are want the Bitcoin to. Please, someone should. That Mustafa should mute his mic, please. Yes. So when people start understanding that the Bitcoin is having high is attracting people and has a high acceptance rate, people start thinking of how to bypass this Bitcoin. So since it's the only digital file, it's not in a physical cache of it. Now people start thinking of copying it. So when you copy it, you put the original aside and you deleted the other one. So when you are seeing it, people may realize that the original one is the one you copy it after you make that transaction, because it's the only digital file. So by then, 184 million Bitcoin were generated through this kind of things. And they also duplicate the network of that Bitcoin, because there are fraudsters waiting for whatever will come out technologically in order to bypass it. So it has to have a strong protocols and also a strong security instead of in order to secure your own online activity. So that is the history of Bitcoin and what happened with the Bitcoin at that moment. So they have lost a lot of money, and a lot of money has been made by the other parties, those who maybe bypass the system. So initially, we have heard when the Bitcoin started and how the Bitcoin started and how the Bitcoin came to an existence. It's the thinking of Satoshi Nakamoto that was developed and also promoted in order to have a suitable currency exchange, digital currency, or digital asset currency to make use of it within the society without the mediation of financial institutions, which are the third parties. But initially, we do not discuss about who is Nakamoto, that is Satoshi Nakamoto. As we had the history of Bitcoin, let's discuss about the personality of this person, that is Satoshi Nakamoto. Satoshi Nakamoto, a lot of people have been discussing on him. But up to now, there is no single person being proclaimed and also being stand as the Satoshi Nakamoto. Since 2008, after the originated of Bitcoin and launched the network in 2009, Nakamoto was responsible for creating the majority of the official Bitcoin software and was active in making some modifications and posting technical information on the Bitcoin forum. Even when the Bitcoin was hacked and also manipulated or bypassed, he also makes some modification and posting some technical information in the Bitcoin forum, since they are having forum. But the issue here, there has been much speculation on the identity of that particular person, who suspect to be dead. And some says is Zabo, and Sena says Zefeni, and other people. And a company denies a lot. Those guys that we mentioned their name, all of them denies that they are not the Satoshi Nakamoto. The possibility that Satoshi Nakamoto was a computer collective in a European financial sector has also been discussed. So some of people are saying, no, Satoshi Nakamoto is somebody that is coming out from European financial sector. So a lot has been discussed on him, but there are no single evidence that justify that Satoshi Nakamoto is a so person. Investigation into a real identity of Satoshi Nakamoto were attempted by the New Yorkers and Fast Company. The New Yorkers investigation brought up the least two possible candidates, who are called Michael Klein and Vili Ledovita, who happens to be in one Fast Company investigation. Brought up the circumstances, the evidence linking an encryption patent application filed by Neil King and Vladimir Oxman and Charles Bray on 15 August. So they are also speculate that those guys that yes, because they have applied for encryption patent at that period of time when this issue of Bitcoin started, that is 2008. So by having that encryption system, now they are thinking that they are suspecting those guys that we mentioned their name, they are the people behind the issue of Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin, like I've said previously in 2008, the domain name which was registered 72 hours later when this guys happens to be under this encryption pattern. So they said they must be those people who are behind the issue of Bitcoin. So we are start searching for who. So in May 2013, Ted Nelson speculated that Japanese mathematicians who is named as Shinichi Mochizuki is Satoshi Nakamoto. Later in 2013, the Israel researcher Dorit Ron and Adi Shamir pointed to Silk Rotted Link Ross William and Albright as the possible person behind the cover. The two researchers based their suspicions on the analysis of the network of Bitcoin transactions. These allegations were contested, and Ron and Shamir later reacted their claim. So people are saying, yeah, this after some time they say, no, we are not the people who are behind this issue. Later on again, people start cloning suggested that Nakamoto is a British man. Why? Because there is new headlines papers that discuss such issues and the genesis. And they also think that the newspaper, that is the published newspaper at the time, indicated that the post being commented by the Bitcoin source code user is using British English spelling, such as Optimist and also Colo. So when you are using British, that OPTIMI, instead of using a S, if you're an American person, you should use Z. It's not S, but that guy is using S. And also in Colo, there is no U in the spelling of Colo, American spelling. But in English, which is British spelling, they are using Colo. So those shortcuts that have been used in the system, they now said is a British man, is not an American person, is somebody that is coming from British. So these are how the identity up to now, the identity of this Satoshi Nakamoto is not known to anyone. No one can define this is a someone or this is the guy that is being called Satoshi Nakamoto. Like in our previous discussion, we said that somebody come out to BBC and said he is the one, but he will not appear again in the media that he is the person that invented the Bitcoin. This is the first and last interview that will take place here. He will not appear anymore. But there is no significant evidence that shows that that guy, he is the guy. And now, as I told you, we have been following this trend for a while. No single person came out and says, yes, he is the Satoshi Nakamoto. Even that mathematician that came on board, he declined and said that his name is Satoshi Nakamoto, but he is not the person that invented the Bitcoin. So this is the position of the inventor. This is the position of the person that invented Bitcoin. Let us see the peer-to-peer technology. I'm just giving us this background in order to understand what we are going through. Let's have a background of all those things so that it will be more easier for us to make a verdict on the issue ongoing. So peer-to-peer technology, Bitcoin is one of the first digital currency to use peer-to-peer technology to facilitate instant payment. The independent individuals and companies who owns the governing computing power and participate into Bitcoin network, Bitcoin miners are in charge of processing the transaction on the blockchain and are motivated by reward the release of a new Bitcoin and transaction fee paid in Bitcoin. So those we have after peer-to-peer technology is a mathematical technology being configured in order to make your usage, that is to make your transfer from one party to second party. Mark you, when we are saying miners are the people, it's not individual. It's a computer being programmed and installed by some individuals to mine the processing network, the processing technology from a party who is transferring a Bitcoin to another party that is receiving a Bitcoin. So let's look at the peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer, it means somebody transfer A to B would go direct to him without the mediator who happens to be financial institution or financial intermediaries. So let's look at this. The miners can be taught of the decentralized authority enforcing the credibility of Bitcoin network. New Bitcoin are released to the miners at a fixed but periodically decline rate. There are only 21 million Bitcoin that can be mined in total as of June 2021. There are over 18 million Bitcoin in existence and less than 3 million Bitcoin left to be mined. So because of the shortage of this Bitcoin, now they are saying that they are strong enough to protect the inflation based on this. Because 18 million Bitcoin in existence as June 2021, it's not possible for you to say that, yes, there are a lot of money or the digital currency in the people's domain. So everybody is trading it. Everybody is looking for Bitcoin. Definitely the price of Bitcoin will shoot higher. Like for instance, what is happening in Nigeria, for instance, when you depend on an importation and you are looking for the exchange rate, that is the exchange to US dollar to go and purchase. Now the demand of US dollar will be higher. So by having that demand, people will increase in terms, that is the value of USD will increase. The value of USD definitely will increase. So this is exactly what is happening. So if it happens to be in that direction, definitely the Bitcoin will be in a higher demand and you cannot control it, as some people are saying. So by having such instances, we need to look at it and also discuss this in our next coming class, which is thoroughly about the Bitcoin and what is the Bitcoin is all about. Bitcoin miners. Bitcoin mining is a process by which Bitcoin is released into circulation. Generally, mining requires solving computationally difficult puzzles to discover a new block which is added to blockchain. So you have to think of it, how to do it, and also this is the application. The application will look for somebody that wants to make a transfer, grab that transfer and put it or block it into that dot, as we are going to see it in our feature slide, that how you arrange the blocks and also how the blocks is become so blocked into such this thing, such block. So Bitcoin mining at and verified transaction record across the network, miners are rewarded with some Bitcoin. So those guys that are doing this, they are not doing it free of charge. No, they will be rewarded with the Bitcoin from the initiators, that is the inventors. The reward is halved every 210 blocks. So the rewards happen in that range. When you arrange such, you have to have such rewards. The block reward was 50 new Bitcoin in 2009, but on May 11, 2020, the third halving occurred, bringing the reward for each block discovery down to 6.25 Bitcoin. Previously it's high compared to current because they have already know that the value and also the number of Bitcoin, that is the value of Bitcoin, is shooting higher. So definitely they need to control that, not to give out the higher amount of Bitcoin while there is scarcity of that Bitcoin. A variety of hardware can be used to mine the Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin has some applications that is being used to control the Bitcoin and also mine the Bitcoin. We call the first application specific integrated circuit, so ISIC. That one is being used, but it's not that advanced processing unit, is not that advanced compared to graphic processing unit, which is GPU. GPU is more advanced compared to the ASIC, as we say. So can achieve more reward. The GPU can get more reward compared to ISIC. This is how the Bitcoin are being used, and this is how the Bitcoin are the history of Bitcoin and how Bitcoin is being in existence. That is from the initiation of the Bitcoin, invention of the Bitcoin, up to the current level we are. Let's look at the last paragraph. One Bitcoin there before. One Bitcoin is referred as a single thing. It's referred as, now currently we are talking about the current system of Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is equivalent to 33,716 USD. 33,716 USD per Bitcoin. Per Bitcoin, please mark my word. And in Nigeria, for instance, if you are, for instance, to change the rate equivalent to our local currency, is 13,823,929 in Nigerian currency. In 2010, while it was in 2010, one Bitcoin is equivalent to 0.08 American USD, which equivalent to Nigerian money is 32.8 naira. 32.28 naira is nothing. So how that become, that's my question. The first question that I need also to ask people, in 2008, in 2010, one Bitcoin is equivalent to 0.08 in terms of currency. And in 2010, again, in Nigerian currency is 32.80. How that possible from 2010 to 2021 is now per Bitcoin is 13,823,929 naira. So definitely there must be question, and also you need answer to answer such kind of this thing. Is it a currency? I think since I was born, the Nigerian currency up to date is within, compared to US dollar, is within 400, from 1 naira to 400, 40 years back. So how possible within 10 to 15 years, within 10 to 15 years, from 32 to 13,900,800 and something? I think it's not that it's not that this thing. It's not sensible to even think that that thing is a currency. So let's look at how miners works in blockchain. Like I showed it previously, this is the first person that's looking for that want to transfer his money to party B. This is what we call knots. You can see 2 is not, something like a box. So we call it knot. So please, when we come to the issue of knots, when we are saying knot, we are referring to this block. So number 3, this is where the miners are. Like I've told you, miners is not an individual, but it's a programmed computer being applied, being installed a software. That software, the one we discussed, maybe ACID software or GPU software that used for the miners to grab those that are sending Bitcoin to another party. So when you send the Bitcoin, as we can see in number 3, is broadcasting for the people that are looking for this. So miners is not the only one person, it's not 2, it's not 3, it's not 1 computer, it's not 2 computers, millions of computers out there. So the transaction is broadcast to a network of nodes. So now you start looking at, how am I going to have this? So the person that has a high processing units of processor can grab that very easier, as we say in our previous listing, that the second one is better than ASIC one because it has no that much functionable listing in terms of processing the Bitcoin transfer. So now they will broadcast to miners. Now miners are looking all over to have their own transaction because they may expect the reward at the end of the day. So after verification of one of the miners, we can see number 4, the network validates the transaction. So one of the miners grab it and also validate it. So after validating it, it will allow the other computer to say, yes, this transfer is valid. This coin is valid coin. So what will happen is let us put it or block it to the other blockchains, to the other blocks, to the other nodes. So now the block can be added to the blockchain in a way that is permanent and unalterable. So number 5 is showing you that is the new block in a yellow is confirmed and verified, and also is being verified by miners, and miners put that one in the block. So you can see it at the top. So whosoever visited can see this kind of block there, but the external person that has no relation with this, he cannot access the block and say this transfer is from so-so-so person to so-so-so person. So this is how this is being arranged. This is how the block is being what? Is being arranged. So from there, the second person may receive a notification that the money moved from A to B is successfully done, and how this is how the miners is being work based on blockchain. They will verify it and send it. But the miners are not individual, like I've said, please mark my words, are not individuals. They are the computers being installed by individuals. So by saying that, yes, the third party here is being eliminated, to me, to my own understanding, I haven't seen anywhere that the third party is being eliminated, because the miners has to do the work before they receive the blockchain receive, that is the second party receive the transfer. So I hope you get this, or you find this one useful. I do believe that the explanation is just for this one to understand what is Bitcoin is all about and the history. But the activities of the Bitcoin, how is this Bitcoin allowed or not, and how the Bitcoin is being seen as something that is being as something that's valuable and also great for transaction. That one will follow later, and we are going to discuss in our future classes, one after the other. We want to take things gradually from first stage to second up to the end of it, so that we can understand it at the end of the class. I wanted you, please, to also use your own understanding based on what we have discussed previously to link this case with the previous case, because we have talked about the interest rate. We have talked about the gambling, speculation, uncertainty, and other things related to that, by saying that if such things happens to be part of the transaction under Islamic economics or under Islamic finance, that do consider as illegal and un-Sharia compliant, and it's not allowed. So the instances we are giving, I wanted you to link them together, to have them all together, so that we can have the smooth understanding and also the smooth discussion at the end of the class. I hope you find this presentation useful, and the door now is open for Q&A session, that is question and answer. Maybe today, I'm apologizing since the prof is not here with us. We will adjust the issue of a question, that is the quiz. Our quiz today will be matched with the next week quiz, so that it will be more easier for all of us to have a say on the issue of related to quiz. So the door is open for the Q&A session. If you are having questions, please, the mic is yours. You can open your mic and ask question. Thank you so much. Abubakar, do you have a question? Yes, I can see one using TechnoSpark 4. It's okay. You can unmute yourself. Yes. Spark 4, the name is not written, but Spark 4, somebody is using Spark 4. Can you go ahead and ask your question?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, please. Your name first and ask your question.
Okay, sir. I am Yusuf Garba by name.
Okay.
So my question here is, I need to highlight previous class while I came late.
Okay, you know, we have a record. We have some, you know, if we are to start discussing about the previous discussion, it will not, we cannot complete it today, because we have talked much on the issue of related to Bitcoin, which we started last class. So, but I will advise you to please go and check our previous videos, as we are posting to YouTube, and some are still in the group, WhatsApp group. So you can have that one, and maybe if there are some things that are not clear to you, you can ask the question for our next class. I hope I answered your question. But if we are to start talking about the what we have discussed previously, I think it will also consume our time. Yes. Yes, I can see Ganiu. Yes, hello. Please, can you unmute yourself? Yes.
My own question is that this particular Bitcoin,
Yes.
I know that it come in form of coins. Yes or no, sir?
Yes, digital coins. It's not physical coins.
Okay, yeah, digital coins. My own question is that is it particular this Bitcoin can possess the characteristics of a money as a just like a standard or deferred payment?
Sorry, please, can you repeat it? Because your distance is breaking. Can you repeat the question?
The question is that the function of money, just like money is served as a
medium of exchange.
So medium of exchange and the method of the deferred payments.
Yes.
Exactly. How far the Bitcoin can be treated as a method of the deferred payment?
Yes, of course. For instance, now we're having something called digital cashless policy of banking sector. So the banking sector are taking that cashless policy to use the digits instead of what? The cash. So you can transfer the digit to someone when he owns you 10,000. So when one of you transferred the money to other, the person will feel what? Satisfied because the money is there in his account. So whenever he wants to withdraw it, that is allowed. He can withdraw, he can have access to that cash. Are you getting me? So digitally, yes, it's allowed if it is being organized and also accepted by the government authority. And also such speculation we are talking about are not there. Are you getting me? But if you are to use something that you do not even know the inventors, that's my critical issue. You do not know the inventors and you do not know the owner of those kind of things, but you are participating in it. And you can see how speculative that kind of currency is. In 2010, in Nigerian currency, that money, that digital money is considered as 32 naira. That is 32 naira 0.8 something. But now in 2021, which is from 2010 to 2021, I think it's about 11 years, right? So it's now 13 million 900 or 800 and something. Does that make sense? I do believe you are not over 40 or you are 40 above. Let me just give you an example, 40 above. Since you are born or since I was born, I think the naira with the US dollar is from 1 naira to 400 or 400 and something, as currently we are experiencing. But how that possible, a currency being in a very short period of time with such speculative idea to start with 38 per 1 naira, that is per 1 Bitcoin to 13 million something, you know that is not normal. So definitely you cannot do that. And we are going to see the scholars' view on this issue, as I said. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Doctor.
My pleasure. Yes, Mohammed Farashi is raising. Okay, you can unmute yourself, please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mohammed.
Sir, my question goes like this: is how are they making this huge amount of profit like the Bitcoin? What are they doing to generate that kind of amount of currency?
Yes.
For example, if somebody.
Yes.
For example, if somebody can be able to buy 1 Bitcoin for a short amount of time, you will see that the currency has generated a turnover that is surplus more than what he has bought.
Yes.
He will make a huge profit. That's how some of them are making money.
Yes.
Can you explain to me, sir?
Yes, that's exactly what we are saying. So if you can have that as a currency, you can just hold that as a currency. That's my argument. Because you cannot have a speculative and volatile system of currency that cannot resist its value. At any moment, as the moment you buy, some of them are not using it for buying and selling, and they are being named as a currency. We are going to see the line demarcation between them in our previous class. That is how money is being managed and how such Bitcoin currency are also being managed. So, but currently, you cannot buy a money and keep the money as you are waiting for it. Under Islamic economic system, initially, we have discussed that in our first series, that the money is not tradable. Money is not tradable. It's the medium of exchange, store of value, and units of account. When you use the money, based on the money you give, the account of money, it will determine how many items to be paid or to be given you back. Store of value, it has also a value that value at times appreciate and depreciate. But the volatile system of how that cryptocurrency, that is the Bitcoin, is being seen nowadays, it's not a money. It's something that, because you cannot buy things with the this thing right away. You are seeing that it's moving to 13 million, 14 million, and maybe in the henceforth, we don't know what exactly will happen, but definitely will crash. Definitely will crash, because you cannot buy something with the Bitcoin. It's just serve as a way of trading, but it's not a currency, to my own perspective. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
I can see Alamin. Alamin. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Thank you.
So for my own, I think it's much of observation.
Okay.
You made mention of a peer-to-peer electronic cash system.
Yes.
And you said it is like an instant payment. So I don't know, maybe you can share more light on this point, because I did not get it very clearly.
Yeah, peer-to-peer, what we are referring to peer-to-peer is the system that is between a party A and party B without intermediary. When you transfer your money, when you send your money, you are not expecting someone to stop at the middle to verify, to check, to do exact, is straight going to your what? To your account, to account B. When you transfer, when a party A transfer the money from party A, it goes to party B without the mediator. We consider the intermediary here as a financial institution. Normally, when you transfer your money currently or instantly here, your money has to be verified by financial institution. So now the issue of Bitcoin, they wanted to eliminate, to remove the intermediary system in interacting or looking into somebody's information in order to get that, to deliver the money, because they do not trust the financial institution anymore. The financial institution, when they defaulted, now the government will start talking about what? Bailout. The money that is coming from the government is the public fund, is the public money, is the public distance. So from the public money is being gingered the financial institution to be bailed out. So these are the all fundamental things that Bitcoin researcher or inventor Satoshi Nakamoto thought of it. And he says now, since those financial institutions are not fair enough to have the sincerity and also accommodate people's needs, why can't us invent a system that directly when you transfer, it will be electronically transferred to other party without the intermediary. So when we said peer-to-peer, we are referring the word without intermediary. That is the transfer or the delivery of a cash, delivery of money without the intermediary or without the mediator. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, so based on what you just explained, is there any difference between trading and currency, that's cryptocurrency? That's exchange currency, intercurrency exchange. Is there any difference? Because I know in trading, mostly there is intermediary, because
Yes.
you buy a coin. I think it's Ethereum or what other coins are you going to buy? And then you also change it to another currency before you start trading with it. So I don't know for I don't know for intercurrency business. I don't know, since you said there is it is peer-to-peer without instant payment, that's without third party. So I don't know, is there any difference between trading and intercurrency exchange?
Yeah, initially, when what you say that if you wanted to buy something, more especially if you are doing import and exportation, importation and exportation, we have something we call in finance arbitrary. So in that case, you buy that that country's currency and you make the transfer based on that. At times now, since we have digital, this thing is being just transferred and you'll be charged based on your own value of currency. But in cryptocurrency, they consider it as a currency too. There is nothing wrong with it as a currency. They do consider it as a currency. And also they consider it as a word commodity per se, because they trade the cryptocurrency. Bitcoin. I'm referring to Bitcoin, sorry. So they trade the Bitcoin. So in conventional finance, we don't care about it because the currency is also commodity. We consider the currency as a commodity because we charge interest rate in it. We consider the money because we create, there is something we call credit creation. For instance, if you borrowed money from me, I lent out the money to you, I may charge you at the rate of 20% interest rate to be paid me back when you are returning that money, or based on yearly activity. You can lend out this money to another party to charge him 30%. You know, I charge you 20% and you charge somebody 30%, and that person will charge another person 40%. So you can see how you created debt on debt. That's what we call credit creation. When that person, the last person defaulted, it would definitely affect the child. So in this scenario, we have no problem on it. We realize that in conventional sense of it, the cryptocurrency can be commodity, can be currency. But when it comes to the issue of Islamic economic system, that's what we are trying to explore more so that you understand it and you put it on the scale we have been discussing. Is it allowed? Is it permissible? With all history and discussion, that in our future classes will indicate that. Did you get the point? I hope you understand. I answered your question.
Yeah, you answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, I can see Salahu is coming again. Yes. Well, can you unmute yourself?
Doctor, sorry for taking. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry for taking your time.
No problem. That's what we are here for.
This particular Bitcoin,
yes,
according to the lecture delivered, the value of the Bitcoin increased with this sort of period of a time.
Yes.
But my own question goes thus: is it the level of demand and supply make it increase to that extent, or there's a government or there's somebody, that body that's working to increase the value within that short period of time? That's my own first question.
Okay, what I'm saying here is, I'm saying the scarcity. I even cited an example with the economics theory by saying that when the demand is high, and also the demand is high, the supply is less, you definitely find the difficulties in terms of accessing that. And you may also control the inflation, but people may suffer. But because the demand is high. Did you get the point? So the issue here is people are demanding such kind of currency in a high rate of it. So definitely they are expecting the value of that currency to boost up. That's the reason I even cited an example with my distance. Then before, during maybe when we're having importation, when we're having less importation in the country, for instance, Nigeria, what is happening? Our own activities, our own needs, our own currency is valuable. People are having, Nigerian currency is valuable. But when we depend much on importation, not exportation, what is happening? Definitely our currency monthly or yearly or anything would depreciate. And it's not the only indicator, because you know that the IMF and the World Bank also, their policy, if you wanted to have a borrowing, to borrow something from them, you must depreciate your currency. So, but the Bitcoin issue, as I was saying, now I'm just citing an example to you to get it right. So when the demand of something becomes so high, definitely the value of that kind of thing increases. So because people are looking for it, the demand and also the value of the currency goes high. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I can see Mohammed. Yes, Umar Muhammad Erba. Umar Muhammad, unmute your mic, please. Okay, Mustafa Umar. Unmute yourself, please. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Oh, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for hosting such an important session this time.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
My question here is, thank you. My question here is, you said money serves as a medium of exchange.
Yes.
And money is not to be traded.
Mm.
And whilst in the case of Bitcoin, it is being traded and it is termed money, despite the fact that the actual inventor of that money, you said it is Satoshi Nakamoto. It is not actually known, the actual inventor. Mm. So the question here is, according to Islamic jurisprudence, is it halal to use Bitcoin or it is not?
Yes, of course, that's what we are linking to. Being halal or not halal, there is three views of scholars. There are three views of scholars that some say it's halal, some says it's not halal, it's speculative, some says yes, if government can intervene, that should be halal.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. So that can be halal. But what we are trying to do, what I'm trying to say, what we are trying to do here is we started with the cryptocurrency. We now understand the cryptocurrency. We come to the issue of Bitcoin, and we talked about the initiator and inventor and also the history of this. And now we are going to head into the position of Islam and position of Islamic economics on cryptocurrency. Definitely, there are scholars that says the cryptocurrency is allowed. The Bitcoin is allowed, which is because it's a normal thing and also it's acceptable by people. And money has to be within the vein of people that are accepting the money and also agreeing to accept or rendering it. So if there is a community that agree on their stated thing as a money, as then before, people are using gold and silver, and people are using this, it's allowed, because even your naira, nothing that makes your naira valuable is only what? The agreement between you and people that you are transacting that money. So this are the statement of the first district. But when we come to the issue of the second group of scholars, they say, no, it's not allowed. The reason why it's not allowed because it's too much speculative. And also there is no fundamental, that is there is the inventor is unknown to people. So for instance, when you lose your money, as what happened previously, who are you to hold responsible for your money? You know, that is the issue. Yes. And if, for instance, something happened, how do you address it? If this, if that, if this, these are the second view of these scholars. But they are saying, if government will intervene and also make some amendments on this currency, it will be acceptable, as now we are treating with the digital digits of banking sector. Digits. When you see the digits on your account, you have no fear because your money is safe. You can access it at any moment. So if government intervene and make some arrangement on this, that should be what? Should be allowed. So, and what Satoshi Nakamoto is afraid of intervention of government, because there is an information asymmetry. There is a hiding information that government doesn't want to make it in a public domain. So now they invented that currency based on their understanding, based on their thoughts. So you know the government will not come. And there is last view, which totally they said is not allowed because it is too much speculative, as I said earlier. So please, I think these are the issues that are on domain, and which our next class, by God's grace, inshallah, we are going to address it, and we see the difference between the currency and also the money, the Bitcoin, as I said previously. I hope I answered your question.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. I can see Muhammad Saeed. Muhammad Saeed, you can on your mic, please.
Well, we are really grateful about the question about.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
So we really thank you.
Thank you so much.
the Nigerian government has, banned using of Bitcoin.
Okay.
Which ban it. So far, is it
No, please, can you raise up your voice a little bit because the sound is cutting down? Yes, please.
okay?
Yeah, can you speak louder? Yes, thank you. I can hear you now.
Okay. I said that the Nigerian government has stopped using of this Bitcoin, that's cryptocurrency.
Yes.
So, more like,
okay, you know, the Nigerian government is smarter because now the Bitcoin at times they do not collaborate with the system of government. And also, if for instance you are making transaction, definitely the financial institution may benefit from the transaction you are making as a third intermediary, as an intermediary. So they are benefiting, and also the government are taxing them to pay their taxes. But when you do not pay your money, you do not make your transfer through the government intervention, through the government expense, through the government agencies, for instance, they cannot get that kind of distance unless they have some amount being stipulated on them to be paid annually or something like that. But there is no single person that will make transfer without having some distance to government. Government must benefit from something because the financial institutions are charging you, and also the government is charging financial institution. That is tax. Are you with me? So it's not normal for anyone to think of not being part of paying such tax, and he's expecting the government to be free or not talking and also not considering him as a threat. So Bitcoin in Nigeria, definitely it seems to be threat to the government. So government has to take some measures unless they have agreed and also address the issue. If not, definitely it would be an issue to them. I hope I answered your question. Yes, I can see Bashir Abu is raising up his hand. Bashir, the mic is yours, please. Can you unmute yourself?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, Manny.
My question is Bitcoin, it has a risk?
Definitely the Bitcoin has a risk because when we talk, I can recall in our previous class, we talked about how that risk here is. It was 19,000 US dollar. Then before in 2017, it was 19,000 US dollar. But in a single month or two, or before the end of the month, I think that was January or something like that, if I may recall vividly, it drops to 7,000. So if, for instance, you bought it at the rate of 19,000 and now it's dropped to 7,000, you know, you have lose a lot of money, a lot of money. It's not Nigerian 17,000 naira, no, it's a US dollar. So you have lose a lot of money. So because of that, it definitely has a higher risk, and also the higher risk, it's related to high what? Rate of return. So that is exactly what is happening in Bitcoin scenario. The higher risks, the more you are having higher risks, definitely the more you earn more. But when you defaulted, or when that risk defaulted, it means you have lose everything. I have a story of one guy in UK. He did the same thing, and that happens to him. He put 20% of his saving in that, and unfortunately, the moment was not suitable to him. He was default. The company was default. That was the time I'm telling you. That was 2017. He defaulted, and he lost a lot of money. But he later on continuously having that kind of transaction and move on. But he's still with Bitcoin now. But you can see how that volatile the system is. It's 19,000, but drops to 7,000. So you definitely you will lose a lot. I hope I answered your question, Bashir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, I can see Alamin is coming back. Alamin? Yes. Do you have any question?
Okay, so
Alamin?
yeah, mine is not a question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just an observation. So okay. I don't know if maybe there's going to be a time, maybe in the coming 4 sessions, that maybe we are going to set the time, maybe 10 or 20 minutes, so that we'll have an AOBs, maybe any other area of businesses, maybe in the Islamic finance, so that we'll gain more light on what these programs entitles.
Exactly what we used to do in our last session. In our last session, we used to conduct such. That is first series. We did the same thing. We have created a time where we are having some open debate, open discussion on the issue related to Islamic finance, Islamic economics, Islamic banking and finance. So we discussed. So it's a tradition to this training. Inshallah, at the end of the training, we are going to have that discussion openly, and also people may ask what they think is appropriate and what is being hidden to them, and we can see how to address it and how to make some expansion on the issue. And I think, inshallah, it will be useful for all of us to have that session. Prof, do ask me to also inform you that we are having some webinar with Pakistan student on insurance and career of Islamic banking system. We don't know if you are having opportunity on Wednesday. You can also join us, but it's not part of the class. It is for Pakistan students, and also you will be part of class if you wishes. Those that are opportune and privileged, they can join us at that time. Thank you so much. I hope I've answered your question, Alamin. Right?
Yeah, you have answered the question. Thank you.
Right. So thank you so much. We'll call it a day, and inshallah, jazakumullah khair. Let's see on Wednesday or on Sunday as usual. Jazakumullah khair, and thank you so much.
Thank you.